Ethan walked briskly through the bustling streets, the heavy rain soaking the city. He paid little attention to the hurried crowd or the gleaming lights of the towering skyscrapers. As a young tech billionaire, Ethan was used to long, stressful days filled with meetings and decisions. Yet today, the weight of it all felt heavier than usual. All he wanted was to return to his luxurious mansion, take a hot shower, and let his mind rest. Unbeknownst to him, this short walk would lead to an unexpected encounter that would change his life forever. Ethan stopped abruptly, sensing something was wrong. His heart sank as he patted his jacket pocket and felt the empty space. His wallet was missing. The thought of losing it with all its contents filled him with anxiety. Maybe it fell when I paid for coffee, he thought, trying to calm himself. After a moment of hesitation, he turned around and began retracing his steps, determined to recover his possession. As he neared the cafe, a disheveled woman suddenly ran toward him. Her hair was messy, her clothes wrinkled and soaked from the rain. Instinctively, Ethan stepped back, unsure of her intentions, but instead of harming him, she extended her hand, holding his wallet. "You dropped this at the cafe," she said, panting. "I saw it fall and ran after you to return it." Ethan was stunned. For a moment, he simply stood there, staring at the woman in front of him. Despite her evident hardships, her act of kindness left him speechless. He took the wallet from her, his gaze never leaving her face. "Thank you so much," he finally managed, his voice thick with emotion. "I don't even know how to thank you properly." The woman simply shrugged. "It's not mine, is it? I just did what was right." Her simple reply stirred something profound within Ethan. Ethan studied the woman standing before him, her tired eyes and soaked clothing telling a story of hardship. Though her demeanor seemed guarded, her kind act had left a deep impression on him. "It's pouring out here. You shouldn't be out in this weather," Ethan said, his voice full of concern. He hesitated for a moment, unsure if she would accept or if she would misinterpret his intentions. Finally, he added, "If you don't mind, I'd like to invite you to my home. You can take a hot shower, have a meal, and rest a bit." The woman, who introduced herself as Clara, looked startled and hesitant. "I don't want to impose," she replied, taking a cautious step back. "Please, don't worry," Ethan reassured her patiently. "You did the right thing by returning my wallet. This is just my way of thanking you. A meal and a little rest." After a moment of silence, Clara nodded, her eyes reflecting both doubt and a flicker of hope. "All right," she said softly. When they arrived at Ethan's mansion, Clara was nearly overwhelmed. The house looked like something out of a movie, with expansive glass walls, a lush garden, and warm golden lights glowing from within. "This is your home?" she asked, her voice filled with awe. Ethan smiled gently. "Yes, it is. Come in, please. I'll have the guest bathroom prepared for you." He led Clara inside, where the luxurious interior left her almost speechless. Crystal chandeliers, sleek modern furniture, and a cozy ambiance surrounded her. Ethan called for his housekeeper to show Clara to the guest bathroom. "Make yourself at home," he said. "There are towels and clean clothes ready for you. Take as long as you need." Clara followed the housekeeper with hesitant steps, still struggling to believe what was happening. Clara stepped out of the bathroom, still feeling the warmth of the hot water on her skin. But as she glanced down at the oversized dress shirt Ethan had left for her, she felt a wave of embarrassment. Taking slow, hesitant steps, she entered the dining room where Ethan was waiting. "Have a seat," Ethan said, gesturing to the chair across from him. On the table was a simple but hearty meal, a bowl of steaming soup, soft bread, and a small salad. "You need to eat something," he added, his tone gentle yet firm. Clara sat down, her eyes fixed on the table as if afraid to disturb the perfect setup. "Thank you," she murmured, lifting the spoon with cautious hands. The room was quiet, with only the soft patter of rain against the windows. After a few minutes, Ethan broke the silence. "Clara, if you're comfortable, I'd like to hear your story. I think you have a lot to share." Clara looked up, startled by the sincerity in his voice. After a long pause, she took a deep breath and began. "Not long ago, I wasn't like this," she said, her voice trembling. "I used to own a small bakery. It was everything to me, a place where I found joy and pride. But then, everything started to fall apart." Clara's gaze drifted into the distance, her eyes filled with painful memories. My mother passed away suddenly, and I completely lost my way. She was my biggest supporter, and when she was gone, it felt like my entire world collapsed. She paused, her hands trembling as they gripped the spoon. I started drinking, just a glass or two at first, to numb the pain, but then I met someone. He said he had something that could help me forget everything. At first it was just a few pills, but then I couldn't stop. It became everything I needed just to get through the day. Ethan sat silently, his eyes fixed on Clara as she continued her story. The drugs consumed everything I had, Clara said, her voice breaking. I sold everything I owned, including the bakery that once brought me so much joy, just to feed my addiction. When there was nothing left, I found myself on the streets, feeling like a shadow of the person I once was. I despised myself for what I had become, but I didn't know how to stop the downward spiral. Ethan placed his spoon down, his gaze filled with compassion. Clara, you're still here, sitting in front of me. That means you still have a chance. Clara looked at him, tears streaming down her face, not just from sadness, but from relief. For the first time in years, she felt like someone truly listened and cared. After dinner, Clara and Ethan moved to the living room. They sat on the sofa, the quiet space filled only with the soft patter of rain against the windows. Clara seemed more relaxed now, though the weariness etched on her face hadn't completely faded. Ethan studied Clara for a while, his eyes lingering on her face as if trying to piece together a long-forgotten memory. There was something about her that felt incredibly familiar, though he couldn't place it right away. Clara, he began softly, his tone both curious and hesitant. Did you ever live in Somerville, maybe 20 years ago? Clara blinked, startled by the unexpected question. She furrowed her brow, then nodded. Yes, I did. How do you know? Ethan leaned forward, his eyes widening as recognition dawned on him. We went to high school together. I'm Ethan Miller. Don't you remember? Clara's eyes grew wide, fragments of memories flooding back. Ethan? She whispered, her voice a mix of disbelief and wonder. You were the kid with glasses, always doodling in class, weren't you? Ethan laughed, the warm sound easing the tension in the room. That's me. And you were Clara, the cheer captain who always lit up the room. Clara gave a faint, almost bashful smile. It's hard to believe. We've changed so much. Ethan looked at her, his gaze kind and understanding. No, Clara, I still recognize you. I think I suspected it the first time I saw you, but now I'm certain. Clara lowered her head, shame washing over her. If I told you I didn't want you to see me like this, would you believe me? Ethan gently placed his hand over hers, his voice firm yet compassionate. Clara, that doesn't matter. You're an old friend, someone who was once so strong and full of life. I see nothing here to be ashamed of. Clara looked up at him, tears streaming down her cheeks, not from sadness this time, but from relief. For the first time in years, she felt a glimmer of hope she thought was long gone. The next morning, as the soft light of dawn pushed away the remnants of the previous night's rain, Ethan had already made a plan for Clara. He knew that helping her rebuild her life would require more than emotional support. It would need concrete action. Clara, he said gently over breakfast, I want to help you seriously. I think the first step is to give you the chance to step away from everything and focus on yourself. Clara set her teacup down, confusion etched on her face. What do you mean? Ethan met her gaze, his eyes full of sincerity. I know a highly reputable rehabilitation center. They can help you confront what you've been through and regain your strength. I'll cover the costs, but the most important thing is that you have to be ready. Clara was silent. The thought of entering a strange place to face her own pain was both terrifying and hopeful. Do you really think I can change? She asked, her voice soft but tinged with yearning. Ethan smiled and nodded. I don't just think so, I know you can. You just need to believe in yourself, the way I believe in you. After a long pause, Clara nodded. All right, she said, her voice trembling but resolute. The first few days at the rehabilitation center were an immense challenge for Clara. Every day, she battled intense cravings, painful memories, and the crushing weight of guilt. But what kept her going was Ethan's unwavering encouragement. He visited her regularly, bringing small gifts, a notebook, a book he loved, or handwritten notes with simple messages. "You've got this. I believe in you." Clara also began attending group therapy sessions. At first, she just listened to the stories of others. Gradually, though, she opened up, sharing her own pain and regrets. Each time she spoke, it felt like a piece of her burden was lifted. As time passed, Clara began to change. She learned to forgive herself and accept that her past mistakes didn't define her. In her one-on-one therapy sessions, she confronted her deepest wounds, slowly freeing herself from the chains of her old life. By the time the program was nearing its end, Clara felt not only physically stronger but also emotionally lighter. On the day she left the center, she saw Ethan waiting for her, his warm smile making her feel as though she had reclaimed a part of herself. Clara left the rehabilitation center with a mix of anxiety and hope. When she saw Ethan waiting for her outside, his warm smile lighting up his face, she felt a familiar sense of comfort she thought she had lost. "Welcome home," Ethan said, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. They began spending more time together. Ethan often took Clara for walks in the park, introduced her to his favorite little cafes, and even encouraged her to join a baking class to rekindle her old passion. At first, Clara was hesitant. She worried that her past might change the way Ethan saw her. But Ethan never made her feel different. He treated her with respect and understanding, helping Clara slowly open her heart. One evening, as they sat on Ethan's porch watching the sunset, Clara turned to him, feeling the need to voice what had been on her mind. "Ethan," she began, her voice soft but full of emotion. "Thank you for everything. I didn't think I deserved all this, but you've made me believe that I can start over." Ethan smiled, his gaze tender as he looked into her eyes. "Clara, I'm not doing this out of obligation. I'm doing it because I believe in you. From the moment I saw you again, I knew there was something special about you." They looked at each other for a few seconds, and in that moment, Clara realized Ethan wasn't just an old friend or someone who had helped her. He was someone who made her want to be the best version of herself. As time passed, Clara slowly rebuilt her life. She found a job at a small local cafe and began constructing her new life from the smallest things. Each passing day, Clara felt the changes within herself. She no longer felt guilty or ashamed of her past. Instead, she learned to accept and love herself. One day, after receiving her first paycheck from her new job, Clara decided to do something special. She decided to use her first earnings to buy Ethan a special gift. For days, she contemplated what to get him. Then, a watch in a small shop near the bakery caught her eye. It was a sleek, elegant watch, not flashy, but refined and perfectly suited to Ethan's style. Clara stepped into the shop and carefully chose the watch, her heart filling with joy as she imagined his reaction. One evening, as Ethan stopped by the cafe to pick Clara up after work, she invited him to sit down. "Ethan," she began, her voice carrying a hint of nervousness, "I have something for you." Ethan looked surprised but smiled. "What have you done?" Clara pulled out a small, carefully wrapped box and handed it to him. "I used my first paycheck to buy this. I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for me." Ethan opened the box to reveal the watch. He picked it up, his expression softening with emotion. "Clara, you didn't have to do this," he said, his voice low with feeling. "But I wanted to," Clara said, her eyes sparkling with joy. "You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. This gift is my way of saying thank you from the bottom of my heart." Ethan slipped the watch onto his wrist, his smile warm and genuine. "I'll treasure this forever, not just because it's a gift, but because of what it means. Thank you, Clara." Clara felt a gentle happiness bloom within her. It wasn't just about the gift, it was about the deepening connection between them, a bond built on friendship, trust, and understanding. Clara had been working diligently at the cafe, steadily rebuilding her life. Ethan, ever by her side, noticed that her passion for baking never truly faded. One day, he decided to present her with a proposal he had been considering for a while. "Clara," he said one sunny morning as they sipped coffee together, "have you ever thought about reopening your own bakery?" Clara blinked in surprise, setting her coffee cup down. "Are you serious?" But I don't have the finances for something like that. Ethan smiled, his eyes filled with determination. Let me help you. I want you to run your own bakery again, a place where you can pursue your passion and create something wonderful. We'll do this together. Clara was overwhelmed with emotion. After a moment, she nodded, tears streaming down her face. I don't know what to say, but I'll give it my all. Thank you, Ethan. Over the next few months, they worked tirelessly to prepare the new bakery. They named it Sweet Beginnings, symbolizing not just Clara's fresh start, but also the blossoming of their relationship. Clara poured her heart into designing the space, experimenting with new recipes and creating a cozy atmosphere for her future customers. Ethan, as always, stood by her side, ensuring everything went smoothly. The grand opening arrived and the bakery was bustling with friends, supporters, and curious customers. But Ethan had a bigger surprise planned. As the day wound down and the crowd thinned, Ethan approached Clara near the counter, holding a small box in his hand. Clara, he began, his voice steady but full of emotion, causing her to turn toward him. Today isn't just about the grand opening of your bakery. It's about starting a new chapter in our lives. Clara's eyes widened as Ethan got down on one knee. Ethan took a deep breath, his hand trembling slightly as he held the small box. Clara, he began, his voice thick with emotion. From the moment I saw you again, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Watching you rebuild your life and rediscover your strength has been the most inspiring thing I've ever witnessed. He opened the box to reveal a sparkling diamond ring. You don't just make me proud. You've shown me how strong love can be. Clara, will you marry me? Tears streamed down Clara's face, but they were tears of joy. She nodded and exclaimed, Yes, yes, I will. Ethan stood up, pulling her into an embrace amidst cheers and applause from their friends and loved ones. A few months later, Clara and Ethan held a small, intimate wedding in a beautiful garden. Clara wore a simple yet radiant white dress, and Ethan couldn't stop smiling throughout the ceremony. Under the soft sunlight, they exchanged vows, promising to stand by each other no matter what challenges life might bring. As they shared their first kiss as husband and wife, cheers and fireworks erupted, marking the beginning of a joyful new chapter. The bakery, Sweet Beginnings, became more than just a place to enjoy delicious pastries. It was a symbol of love, resilience, and the power of second chances. Clara and Ethan lived happily ever after, building a family and cherishing the incredible journey that brought them together.